We want to head south of the border now to talk about something that happened not too long ago with President Donald Trump. For that, I'm going to bring in my colleague, the CBC's Katie Simpson. Katie, President Trump said he was going to issue an executive order, and he certainly did. And it all has to do with Twitter.
It does. President Donald Trump is taking aim at social media giants and trying to remove the legal protections that they have right now that protects them from lawsuits about what is actually posted on their website and how they police content. Now, this all comes after Twitter slapped a couple of fact check notices on some tweets that Donald Trump made about voter fraud, tweets that are misleading at best. We'll leave it at that. But after that move, the White House decided to act, claiming that social media giants, including Twitter specifically, have been censoring conservative voices and have been expressing an anti-conservative bias. And so, because these social media platforms are acting more like traditional publishers by doing things like this rather than being neutral platforms, they've decided to act to try and change the law so that these websites or these platforms no longer have that protection to protect them from lawsuits and legal challenges. And so there are some questions from some experts right now that we've been speaking with. We're doing a story about this on The National tonight. They question whether the president has the authority to do this. They expect that this is going to be challenged in court, that some of the social media giants will team up and perhaps challenge this, and whether they actually have to comply with this at this point.
I want to bring in Katie McKay-Coppins, staff writer at The Atlantic, who's also joining us to talk about this. Hey, McKay, good to see you.
Good to see you.
You can hear me okay? Okay, good. I just wanted to check in with you as well and get your take on, I guess, the political motivation here and the possible political payoff for the president.
Well, there are a couple things going on here. One is that social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter have been central to President Trump's communication strategy really since he first began running for president in 2015. On Twitter, you get kind of a stream of consciousness feed of his thoughts. He often sets the national news agenda here based on what he's tweeting about in the morning. And then on Facebook, his presidential campaign, both in 2016 and his reelection campaign now, have really used Facebook's advertising tools to push out his message and really push the boundaries of kind of acceptable political discourse and, fact and accuracy. And so, but I think what's happening here is the president, when he sees a company like Twitter start to edge toward more aggressive moderation, more fact checking, he gets nervous because his kind of unfiltered access to the public via social media is really important to his political success. The other thing I would note, though, is the timing. We just hit a pretty grim milestone here, which was 100,000 people have died in the United States from the coronavirus. The president and his administration, of course, have faced a lot of criticism for their handling of this crisis. And a lot of people I talk to and I hear from seem to think that picking this fight now with social media companies is a way to distract from that milestone and from the general criticism of his administration's handling of it.
Katie, can we delve into exactly what he's trying to do with the executive order? I know you said there are already some legal experts out there saying that it won't necessarily stand up in court. The companies will lose their liability shield if they engage the executive order rights in any form of censoring. So what exactly does that mean?
Well, the executive, so sometimes when the president has gone on to announce that he's signing an executive order, what he talks about in those briefings can oftentimes be different than the text, whether there is a change before the actual executive order has been sent out. We've seen this a couple of times where the text does not match what he says. For example, when the president announced that there would be a travel ban on Europe, they were also talking about banning goods. There was no mention of that in the actual executive order. In the moments that we have just been sitting here, Vashi, the executive order just arrived in my email, so I have to go over and read it. They don't send it out necessarily right away. So reporters right now are going to be going through that as quickly as they can to see if what the president said matches what's actually in the text. But what the president says he's trying to do here is to end those legal protections. And the argument the White House is making is that these platforms which were protected because they were supposed to be neutral platforms, and they were trying to grow as they developed over the years. But now that that they are doing things that are more editorial in nature, that they should lose those protections. Again, the experts we're speaking with are unclear about whether the president has the authority here to do this, and expect that this will be challenged in court.
McKay, you talked a bit about sort of the other things that are going on right now and some of the potential political motivation behind maybe engaging in a fight with social media companies. We know there's an election coming up as well. Is this an issue that will resonate with people, though, who do support the president?
It will certainly resonate with a segment of the president's base. This question of big tech's political biases has been one that he and his allies have been pushing into conservative discourse for the last couple of years. The president's son, Donald Trump Jr., has made this kind of a pet issue of his and has been rallying the base around it for a while. So I do think that this is something that's going to resonate on, say, Fox News and right-wing talk radio. Will it matter in swing states with voters who probably spend a little less time on social media and aren't quite as plugged in politics? I'm not sure, but I don't think that's really the point of this right now.
Katie, same question to you. What do you think?
Well, we're heading into an election campaign where the digital space is never going to be more important, because remember, traditional campaigning has really been put on hold right now because people can't go door to door. They can't go hold those rallies because of the pandemic. So how the digital space is used to try and galvanize support is going to be important for both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. However, as McKay said, Donald Trump has really used these platforms as a way to get his unfiltered message to his supporters, to rally his base. And he's going to need everything he's got in the fall election, because from all projections at this point, it is looking close, if not Joe Biden having a slight edge. But remember, in 2016, the polls had Hillary Clinton having a slight edge. So, and it's way early in this entire process. But Donald Trump certainly wants to make sure he can continue to have that unfiltered feed of information to his base, so that he can continue to galvanize that support. He's also been under attack and losing some support from seniors in recent days. And so we've seen some announcements targeted at seniors. So we're seeing some moves by the president at a time when he's facing a lot of criticism for his handling of the pandemic, and really announcements that are targeted at some of the groups perhaps that he's losing support with.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Thanks, both of you. Great to see you, and thanks for your insights. The CBC's Katie Simpson and McKay Coppin, staff writer with The Atlantic. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.